So thank you all very much for joining us on this particular International Women's Day celebration. It's a commemoration that began many years ago, and today TECHFARM Hub, in collaboration with Youth Young Creative Forum, based in Nigeria and having a global impact, together with All Nations University College here, based incorporated in the Eastern region of Ghana, in collaboration with Ghana National Commission for UNESCO, in collaboration with MTN Ghana, in collaboration with the National Youth Authority and other key stakeholders, have worked together to bring to this particular commemoration to this point. So I want to first of all say thank you to every one of them who have contributed to how far we have come today. Today's discussion will take some key phases. So as you can already see, we have started the introductory phase of what it is that we're going to be doing today. My name is Kobina Adumazi-Longden. I'm the Executive Coordinator for FAPIMPA Foundation and Chief Executive for TECHFARM Hub. We have been in the gender space for quite a number of years within our CSO activities. And when we started TECHFARM Hub in the course of 2020, as a way to fill a gap for entrepreneurship and innovation and business development hub in the Eastern region of Ghana, we decided to also focus on young people, especially young women and girls in the area of digital technology, digital literacy, robotics, Internet of Things, and the promotion of future of work using disruptive skills, resources to empower them. And what we hope to do is that these discussions should enable them to become powerful, impactful entrepreneurs and become impactful agripreneurs, and of course, be major change makers from and within and outside Ghana. And so if you are here and part of this event, you're warmly welcome. Then 4 phases that after this introductory phases, our special guest speaker in the person of Mrs. Amasewa Nikwe Tete, who is the Secretary General of Ghana National Commission for UNESCO, will be giving us an opening statement. She'll be talking about what she sees of the day. Don't let us forget that today the world is celebrating women. We are saying that women make a lot of impact, and she'll be telling us a bit of what she sees as perspectives to the situation. And in doing so, after she has done it, then we come to the core of some of the discussions that we're going to be having here, where eDialogue is an online-based discussion that we've been having since last year as TECHFARM Hub. And so we'll be having a discussion, and we'll have our panel who are illustrious, impactful, distinguished women who will soon be joining us after that particular component. And of course, I'll be introducing them as we go along. And so be rest assured that I'll do all that. In a moment, I'll be requesting Mrs. Sewa Nikwe Tete to come up and tell us a bit of what the International Women's Day this year is all about and the role that UNESCO, the Commission, is doing here in Ghana. Don't let's forget that this year's celebration is under the theme Women in Leadership. And so we are looking at the role that women are playing in various spheres of a leader and a woman, for that matter. And so without much ado, let me take the moment and invite Mrs. Amasewa.
Hello and good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kobina. I hope I'm well heard. Happy International Women's Day to all, male and female alike. It's an important day for us to celebrate. I noticed already this morning that on a lot of platforms, men and female alike are taking the effort to wish each other Happy International Day. It's important that we reflect on this day, that we don't let the day pass without some kind of event. And that is why I must commend you and TECHFARM Hub and what you're doing. It is important that from our various spheres, we don't let this day pass without some kind of commemoration. International Women's Day begins on the 8th of March, but it carries on throughout the year until the next 8th of March. Then with another theme, we move on. Because it is I wouldn't like to use the word struggle, but it is a challenge that we must ensure is always on the front burner. And that's why we find ourselves, and many people find themselves today in different parts of the world, commemorating it in some form. This morning, please allow me to read the message from Mrs. Audrey Azule, the Director General of UNESCO, on the occasion of International Women's Day. This is the broad message for the day. I'm aware that our discussions will go in a particular way, but I'll start with that with your permission. In 2021, as the coronavirus disease, COVID-19 pandemic, continues to exacerbate all the divisions in our world, particularly those due to gender inequalities, it is more important than ever before that 8th March be a day of unity and mobilization. First and foremost, educational inequalities have worsened, as exemplified by the 767 million women and girls who are deprived of their studies at the peak of the pandemic. Today, in addition to the 132 million who are already out of school before the crisis, 11 million of them may never return. Socioeconomic vulnerabilities are also increasing dramatically. According to a recent study by the International Labour Organization, ILO, job losses worldwide have affected 5% of women as compared to 3.9% of men. Losing their financial independence has meant that women have also been more exposed to violence and discrimination. For example, according to United Nations data, each 3-month period of lockdown produces an additional 15 million cases of violence against women and 2 million preventable cases of female genital mutilation will occur in the coming decade. In their professional lives, women journalists and artists have not been spared either. As established by a survey conducted by UNESCO, the International Center for Journalists, ICFJ, and Free Muse, the World Forum on Music and Censorship. This is why this 8th March, we must all mobilize, men and women alike, to carry the torch of equality. UNESCO, which has made gender equality a global priority, has been tackling the issue throughout the crisis. To support girls' return to school, UNESCO has, for example, launched, together with the Global Coalition for Education, the Girls Back to School campaign, and published an accompanying guide to good practices, which has been disseminated in more than 50 African Union countries. We have also given the floor to women artists, scientists, journalists, and citizens, for example, in the A Whole New World Reimagined by Women special issue of the UNESCO Courier. Unquestionably, women need to be agents of change. Too few are being given the opportunity, however. As the UNESCO science report shows, women account for only 33% of researchers worldwide, yet theirs is a key contribution to science. Kathleen Carrico's research, for instance, paved the way for the recent breakthrough in mRNA technology. This underrepresentation is evident in both laboratories and circles of power. Only 20 women in the world are heads of state or heads of government, according to UN Women. In the face of these ongoing injustices, in the face of this 21st century shame, as put by the Secretary General of the UNESCO of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, it is high time for united action. Working in the areas covered by its mandate, UNESCO devotes a great amount of effort to supporting women's right to education and promoting women artists, journalists, researchers, and also men's engagement to the cause. For it is above all in the minds of people that the defenses of equality must be constructed in order to break down prejudices and stereotypes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General, Mrs. Amasewa Nikwe Tete. Your opening remarks have really ignited the passion and the zeal that we want this particular discussion to go today. We know definitely that you will still be around with us whilst we take things going forward. In your own words, before you go a little bit more silent with us today, in your own words, what would be your take on the theme, Women in Leadership, Promoting Financial and Digital Inclusion of Women to Advance Gender Equality in a COVID-19 World? This is the theme that TECHFARM Hub and our partners, including the Commission for UNESCO, have focused on this particular time. What's your own take about women in leadership, promoting financial and digital inclusion of women to advance gender equality in a COVID-19 world? Thank you.
Thank you, Kobina. Yes, a very thoughtful take on the theme. What we know is that no amount of economic prosperity will stay long without the female being a central part of it. We realize that if you relegate women only to the farm and the market, and even at the market, research has shown that in many cases, females just sold, while the bigger financial decisions were made for women. However, we know that if you include women, if you make them financially literate, if you give them digital literacy skills, whatever endeavor they found themselves in, be it teaching, be it buying and selling, research that has gone on about the use of mobile money connectivity by women and how it has helped entire families prosper just because women have been able to participate is very clear for us all to see. Now, as we launch more and more into AI, it is important that we do not go a very long stretch only to look back and say, oh, we left the women behind, and then to come back for us. It is important that we have women not just understanding also the basics of digital literacy and financial literacy and AI, but also for women to be at the forefront, to be pushing. Now, you know that if AI design has females at the forefront, it will be sensitive to the needs of today's woman. The uptake will be higher, it would be more used, and it would be more successful. This is a fact. This is something that research has brought up time and again, that we need women at the base, but also at the front, at the forefront, who are able to show us that this is what the woman will need, who are able to push designers and people who are thinking about what the future should look like, how women can participate better. I know you have such good experts on here today, and personally, I'm looking forward to the discussion that would come out. But for now, I wanted to underline that we need the women at the base to have the basic literacy skills for their finances and for digitalization. But we also need our women at the top, at the forefront. It's not enough to have a few lady secretaries, to have a few lady receptionists, etc. We need the women being the designers, being the scientists, and being the AI specialists who are pushing forward tomorrow's frontiers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General, for the insightful contributions to the discussion on the table. I believe that it's a key eye-opener for us to take from this angle and build on going forward in the discussions that we're going to be having today. Today, we are celebrating women in their awfulness. So you can be sure that any moment from now, you have me read profiles. The first of the profile's own profile. Now, take a moment and listen to this. That shows you the kind of powerful women we have on discussion today. So just give me a moment and let me share with you some of the key things that our women are doing that we believe it's worth talking about. Now, Secretary General, the Secretariat of the Ghana Commission for UNESCO serves as the main channel for communication between the government of Ghana and UNESCO. And it's headed by the Secretary General and operates under the supervision of the chairman of the commission. Now, Ama Sewa Nikwetete, the one who just spoke, the Secretary General, is the Secretary General of the Ghana Commission for UNESCO. In her role as head of the Secretariat, she's the coordinator of Ghana's presence and contributions to dialogue and action at UNESCO as a member state. That's a big thing, I told you. She also advises government of Ghana on UNESCO matters. She is an experienced teacher, policymaker, educational manager, and communication professional. Nana Masewa has postgraduate degree in international communications, education, educational leadership and management from universities of Leeds, Bedfordshire, and Ghana, respectively. She undertook her postgraduate studies in English and French at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Yesterday, my beautiful wife and myself were talking about the fact that it's strange, but many times when you see people leaving Ghana and going outside, they always have their base of education in the country. And so I want to first of all congratulate Mrs. Ama Sewa Nikwetete, who's the Secretary General of Ghana National Commission for UNESCO, for the great work she's doing at UNESCO, for the great impact she's making, not just in the space of culture and education, but also in science and in the activities she's doing in relation to how young people are being engaged to empower them and to give them the opportunity to make impact across Ghana and beyond. And so thank you very much for your insightful contributions to the discussion this morning, Mrs. Nikwetete. Beautiful to say, we still do have a lot more to share with you people. Today, we are celebrating women and we will not stop celebrating those who are making impact across the globe. My next that we're going to do according to our time activities is that we're going to be going into a panel discussion. The discussion is going to take key people like Madam Ruth Badu, Jane Vontro, Favor Bukola Ayeni, and Mary C. Thomas contributing to the discussion. And in any moment from now, I'll be giving the opportunity for them to come on board. But like I was doing before, I would like to introduce our panelists. To start with, I would introduce Madam Ruth Badu. I would kindly request that Ruth Badu is a financial technology evangelist who stands by the assertion that access to relevant technology cannot be considered a privilege, but an absolute necessity for survival in the 21st century. Perfect truth. Perfect truth. She is part of a team which planned and successfully deployed MTN mobile money in Ghana. Ruth is currently in charge of operations and service delivery, driving the vision of delivering relevant financial services to MTN's cherished mobile money customers. Ruth is extremely passionate about financial inclusion, which is one of the core things we are talking about today. She holds the belief that once there is a dream of impacting the lives of millions of Africa, then inclusive finance is one of the major roads that can lead to the realization of that dream. Prior to joining MTN, she worked with Stanian ICT Consultancy Limited in UK. She also worked with Money Systems International Limited and Network Computer Systems, both in Accra. She holds a BSc degree in computer science from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and an MSc in Information Technology, Management and Organizational Change from Lancaster University, UK. She also holds various industry certificates. That is a power pack. Let's all welcome Madam Ruth Badu to be part of our panel. Now, the next on the bill of panel, we have Jane Van Tro. Jane Van Tro is a multi-entrepreneur with over 20 years experience in ICT. She's founder and CEO at Covenant Consultancy, a consultancy company offering consultancy services as business process analyst and blockchain consultant and fintech and regtech to several clients. She's Chief Business Development Officer at Health Blockchain Security Services. She's Director Business Relations at Social Africa. She's Regional Managing Director for South America for the African Chamber of Digital Commerce. She's founder for Black Women in Tech Suriname. She is co-founder of Phenom Investments. She holds a bachelor's degree in business information from Amsterdam University. You cannot believe this, but there is still more. You won't believe it, but I'm going to still say it more. She is founder and CEO of Cisse Cosmetics, cosmetic company formulating and producing natural hair, scalp, and skincare, as well as home cosmetics products on natural basis. She's head educator of NISH, a holistic hair care philanthropy developed by Jane herself. In 2009, she started the first natural hair salon in Amsterdam. You not believe it. In that same year, she launched her first own natural healthcare line. 2 years later, the landmark achievement of the company was recognized by the African Business Award in Amsterdam. Jane leverages extensive research of over 15 years experience in natural healthcare to train natural healthcare therapists to cater for growing needs of natural hair care across the globe. Jane made it to the Black Woman in Europe Power list in 2018 and in 2020 for her pioneer work in natural hair care in Europe. She is a recipient of the Global Authors Award in the UK and serves as a mentor with African women in Europe. As an international speaker, Jane has shared a stage with Ndaba Mandela, J.T. Fox, the #1 wealth coach, Vanilla Ice, among many other industry leaders. She was nominated for the Entrepreneur of the Year award by the African Women in Europe. In 2019, she was the second. You can imagine. She's the author of the book, NISH, and she's also managing the online lifestyle magazine called NISH Press. Once again, let's all welcome Jane Van Tro. Part of the discussion also soon to join us is Mary C. Thomas. She's a business strategist consultant, multi-certified digital media executive, and a startup coach. Mary Thomas is passionate about building people and helping businesses thrive in the digital space. She has served in different capacities as a coach, mentor, facilitator, trainer, and program manager in projects for small national and multinational organizations like Technovation Indecent, Facebook BYB with IG Hub Africa. IG Hub Africa is one of the biggest entrepreneurship and technology hub based in the southeast section of Nigeria. She's a remarkable, I am remarkable. She's worked with Google, she's worked with Startup Nigeria program and National Orientation Agency. She's worked with GIZ, NICOP programs, and a lot more. She loves to volunteer. She loves to serve and manage projects and organizations that are bothered around helping the girl child, women, orphans, vulnerable children, and advocacy and development, mental health, youth, and business development. Mary C. Thomas is an unapologetic lover of God and believes women have the power of changing the narrative. We will all welcome Mary C. Thomas. Also on the panel for our eDialogue discussion this morning is Favor Bukola Ayani, another Nigerian. She is a professional in digital advertising and tech-related solutions. She's an entrepreneur and a bookworm. She's an energetic, jovial, but disciplined, that I can tell, disciplined young lady who is enthusiastic and passionate about social work. She is popularly called Bukola Digital among friends and known by the name on social media platforms. She is an alumnus of Dignified Pro Nigeria and has volunteered in different capacities to promote and support Dignified Nigeria, including being a graphic designer facilitator. She is an active member of Toastmasters International, an international organization that promotes learning and building communication and leadership skills, where she has taken different leadership roles, including being the public relations manager for Toastmasters Area 28, Division K, District 94. Bukola is also been a coach of Netherlands Toastmaster Club for years. She's an alumna of Orange Academy, where she learns graphic design. Bukola is the team lead and founder of Technology for Media and Information Literacy Center, a nonprofit focused on spreading media and information literacy skills, where she has been functioning as in the area of MIL since 2017. She holds a BSc in Mass Communication from Olibisi Onabajo University, Agbo Iwoye, Ogun State, Nigeria. Pardon me if I couldn't mention all that right. But these are the quality people that are going to join our discussion. The format for today's discussion is basically it's in three main parts. The first part would focus on getting our speakers and panel members giving their first overview of the topic that we have selected to focus our attention on today. Our topic we are focusing our attention on today is it's women in leadership, promoting financial and digital inclusion of women to advance gender equality in a COVID-19 world. Our objective is to promote digital financial services and tools that link women businesses to market, raise income, reduce poverty, and facilitate women's control over their earnings and savings. Our focus also is to promote the use of mobile phone technologies in advancing financial management culture among women business owners. We are also promoting, as part of our objective, advocating for stakeholder commitment to efforts which dismantle barriers women and girls encounter towards leading both healthy and productive lives through COVID-19 pandemic. And finally, we are very much actively promoting Generation Equality Campaign, which is part of the UN Women and the 65th session of the Commission on the Status of Women. We are promoting that agenda, which calls for women's right to decision-making in all areas of life, to equal pay, equal sharing of unpaid care and domestic work, an end to all forms of violence against women and girls, and healthcare services that respond to their needs. So you can be sure that today our quality panel members will be speaking on these aspects based on their knowledge, based on their professional and personal experiences. To start with, I'll kindly call on Madam Ruth Badu. Madam Ruth Badu, you are the first to speak with us on our topic, and we'll kindly ask you to unmute yourself and possibly put yourself on camera as well. Thank you very much.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So on my specific take on the subject for discussion today, by the way, happy International Women's Day to all the women here. So one of the impacts that we have seen in the COVID-19 the pandemic era is that there's been a lot of loss of jobs, formal jobs in many industries. And we also realize that a lot of face-to-face interactions have been reduced with a greater focus on remote interactions. in our part of the world and in so many parts of the world, you realize that women are very enterprising and they are able to run small businesses even when they are in formal employment. And therefore, this time more than ever before has presented us with a lot of opportunities to advance digital methods of managing small businesses to afford women the opportunity to scale up their businesses, because you realize that sometimes when you go into the small and medium scale enterprises, you realize that a lot of women are doing so much, but they are not able to scale up because they don't have the right types of technologies and tools available to them to be able to propel their businesses to move forward and beyond their little spaces that they find themselves. And so to touch back on the topic, I think it's a very important topic for us to discuss today, especially in this pandemic. And it's also important to note that promoting financial inclusion, we know, will help to bridge the the gap that we have in financial inclusion, which no doubt we all admit that it exists. One of the things that, from my perspective, I've realized is that there's lack of deliberate strategies amongst operators to targeting women. Here, operators, I mean, for instance, financial service providers, telecom service providers, and everybody who find themselves in that industry where they have the opportunity to champion digital methods of promoting payments and so on. What we realize is that most of these initiatives are very generic, and naturally, because you have a gap that you're trying to fill, if you go organically, you will not make progress, because over time, what you realize is that the gap will keep widening because more men will come in and the women will take it up, but it will be at a very slow pace. So what I see as one of the barriers is that we don't target specific initiatives that are looking at how we mobilize women to come together, to form the habits of trying to manage finances digitally and trying to scale up their small businesses using various technologies, like it was mentioned by the speaker, the Director General. We have AI technologies and so many inventions that are coming up, but what you realize is that when you go into the labs and into the science around forming of these technologies, you see a lot more men. So the question is, in the design of these products, are we really considering women, or it becomes an afterthought where after the product or the technology has been churned out, to realize that it is not structurally meeting the needs of women. Another thing I would like to say, which I've identified as one of the barriers in my interactions or in my line of duty, is that sometimes the sign-up requirements that are needed for these onboarding of small businesses into the technologies or into the mobile money environment and so on and so forth, sometimes it's a little prohibitory. So you find that some of these women, because their kind of businesses are by nature of a certain form, they are not able to meet some of these requirements. So to be able to get through that, it's important for us to sort of look at how we can make sure that the entry requirements are not prohibitory and it doesn't prevent them from taking up these technologies. And then also, I think we'll admit that when you go into not so literate environments where you have a lot of women doing a lot of businesses, sometimes they are quite calculative when it comes to adopting new technology. So they probably would thrive on testimonies or word of mouth from other females who have sort of benefited from the technology or the tool, and they can confidently say this works. So we also have that challenge where you have to literally convince people. And sometimes when the women see the face of other women who are promoting these technologies, it makes it easier for them to relate to the tools and be ready or willing to take it up. So in summary, I would say that it's important now than ever before to use the platforms that we have to champion these digital technologies and make sure that in the process we are bridging the financial inclusion gap. And then also, it's also important for us to make sure that some of the prohibitory or the barriers that are preventing women from taking these technologies are broken down so that, you know, we can bring in as many people as possible to participate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your inputs. It's really an eye-opener because I've already started picking key points that I believe really would be a good discussion points. And since we are taking the introductory statement as part of this presentation, I will now call on, for the purposes of some issues, I will call on Bukola Ayeni to give us her opening statement on this particular issue we're talking about. So, Bukola, if you can hear us, please unmute yourself and put yourself on camera and let's have a conversation.
Hello, good morning, Kobina. Can you hear me?
Good morning. We can hear you loud and clear, Bukola. You're welcome.
Okay, good morning, everybody. And I want to say thank you, first of all, for this opportunity. In fact, I have to run out of a meeting just to join and go back to what I was doing. Thank you so much. I value this. So, concerning the topic of discussion on digital inclusion, it's a very, very valid topic. So, and I have some things to share with us, but unfortunately, I won't be sharing my slides. So this is what I'll do. I'll share the slide with Kobina, then you can send or forward it to everyone that is interested. So we're talking about gender gap. Sorry, I'm reading from my laptop. We are talking about gender gap, and it's something that has been around for long. So for what is gender digital gap now? So gender digital gap refers to the non-negligible differences between men and women's access to internet technology. Obviously, when you hear about tech, digital, most of the time, the four players in this industries are men. You know, when you're software engineer, data analyst, data scientist, and other technical parts of tech, you always hear men taking the role in this career or industry, and which ought not to be so. Although organizations have taken steps to bridge this gap. In fact, a good thank you, a big thank you to TECHFARM for even also taking a step to bridge this gap. So many women, I guess, are being left behind when it comes to digital development. And when we're talking about digital gap, the inability to use digital tools, it's not just about using Instagram. It's not just about using Facebook or using Google to search for information. It's more about knowing how to get what you want on the internet. It's about knowing where to go on the internet to get certain information, how you can use digital tools to grow your business for your career and every part of your life. And also being a forerunner, one of the forerunners in the tech space. And I like this year's Women's Day theme, which is Choose to Challenge. And personally, I celebrate the World Trade Organization Director General, which is Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala. She's an inspiration. In fact, I think the hashtag more tallies to her because she challenged what was the norm. She's the first one, not just the first woman, she's the first African to occupy that position. So she challenged the norm. So in this digital gap we're talking about, we women too, we can challenge the norm, but we can't do it alone. We need help from organizations. We need help from our male folk to make this possible. So the G20 organization, they are made up of international firm of governments and central bank. So they did a survey in 2014, and they found out that 12% of women are less likely to use internet globally, while it's about 26% in rural companies and also rural societies, like third world organizations. So the gap is wide compared to the male gender. Yes, we're not trying to compete, we're just trying to level up. Let me use the word. We're just trying to up our game. So concerning this topic of discussion, what can we do? What can be done to bridge this digital gap? And this thing is very real. Thank you, Sylvia. This thing is very, very real. So what can organizations and individuals do to bridge this gap? I have 6 points here. Fine, there are more than 6, but I have 6 points here, and I will elaborate on each one of them as I discuss, as I pick them one after the other. So number one is to enhance access to and improve the affordability of digital technologies, to enhance digital technologies for women, and to make it accessible to women. So I'll narrow that down to businesses. We're talking about also financial inclusion, and also talk about narrow it to organizations. So we have to make the organization have to make this thing accessible to women, affordable for women. You can't access anything digital, anything tech without using data. I mean mobile data this time around. I don't know about your country. Personally, in Nigeria, the cost of data is expensive. It's really, really expensive. What can we do about that? So that also has to be put into consideration. Is it that when it comes to women businesses, there has to be a particular discount on data charge? I'm not saying they should be, the organization should be biased or telecoms should be biased this time around. I'm saying making it more accessible so we can bridge this digital gap that we have. So we want to make it more accessible in organizations. If you are the head of an organization as a man or as a woman, are you making digital tools accessible to women? When it comes to technical part of digital, do you always assign it to the men? When it comes to technical training in tech or digital, do you always assign it to the men? So all these things we have to put into consideration if you want to actually bridge this gap. The next is to boost skills deliberately. Boost digital skill deliberately. I'm saying boost women digital skill deliberately. It's a deliberate effort. It's a deliberate decision. It's not something that will happen by mistake. So if I have to boost this digital skills deliberately, you can put together a group of women in your company, your organization, your community, and teach them for free, digital skills for free. In fact, there are online tools, there are online trainings that are free. I'm a beneficiary of Google Digital Skill that is called Digital Garage now. And that was the first thing that launched me into digital before I had to get scholarship from Digify Africa, and I had to do more of that. But Google gave me something to start with. And this is what TECHFARM 2 is doing, bringing up discussions like this and making available other digital training for women for free or paid for them to be able to own this skill. So you have to be deliberate about this. Give free training, organize trainings in between your members, in between your colleagues for women. Invite professionals to come take these women on digital skills, something you have to do deliberately. And also the third point is to facilitate labor market participation and on-the-job learning. So on-the-job learning, like I mentioned in the second point, is even if an HR person too needs digital skill, it's not just fine, she used tools, she used softwares to carry out her job on a daily basis. But are there other digital skills that are outside of work that she can maximize? So things like that we have to put into consideration. So on the job learning, be deliberate about this, give them something to do, to use, introduce them to something. Is it that they don't know how to use Zoom properly? Thanks to COVID, people now use Zoom a lot, like we are using it now. You have to be deliberate about these things. The fourth option is to foster women's entrepreneurship and engagement. And I heard the last speaker mention it, and thank you for that. So we have to foster women's entrepreneurship and engagement. We have to teach small-scale businesses on how to use digital tools to boost their business, to increase profitability. There's this mobile app, it's called EDIALOGUE. So EDIALOGUE is a mobile app that is like a CRM tool. In fact, it's a CRM tool that you put the information of your prospects or of your customers, and you can put when you want to push forward, when you want to follow up on them. Is it that, okay, this person is in Bukola Ayeni, is she a strong lead, is she qualified? How can I follow up on her? I've called her. All those things, they sound to say, all these things are digital tools that can be used to boost businesses, that can be used to foster entrepreneurship and engagement. Social media is a massive tool, massive tool. This is what I do on a daily basis, social media marketing, content, and the part of Google. That's what I do on a daily basis. So it's a massive tool for you to use. If you are looking at B2B businesses, LinkedIn is a perfect place. Even though you are looking at B2C, is a perfect place. When I mean B2C, don't let me sound too technical. I mean business to customer kind of transaction. For instance, if MTN is selling to me. I'm buying data for MTN. It's called B2C. I'm the customer. They are a business on their own. So if you are customer to customer, business to customer kind of business, there are massive tools you can use. Social media, use Google My Business, use emails. Email marketing is very, very good. It's very, very good. So all these things are digital tools that can be used. And we have to be deliberate about this. Organizations have to be deliberate about this. Individuals and societies have to be deliberate about using these tools and teaching women how to use these tools to boost their business. The fifth point is to overcome normative barriers and increase safety. What are the normative barriers? Normative barriers could be women are too busy, they cook a lot, they have a lot of things to do, they won't have time to use these digital tools. Who told you that? In fact, we can multitask more than anything you can compare it to. A woman can be cooking and washing, and she's maybe backing her baby, and she's doing something else, almost 3 to 4 things at a time. So those normative barriers that women's brain are flexible, they are fragile, they'll be able to use this thing. If it is too technical, they won't use this thing. No, we can use this thing, we can maximize it. So all these normative barriers that women can't use a particular digital tools or a particular tech career is too difficult for women, they are all lies. So I would like organizations to work on that. In case you are a CEO here, you are a manager, even as an individual, take deliberate effort to up your skill. The future of the world is tech, is digital, and you don't want to be left behind. And the last point, but not the least, is to collect gender information, to collect gender data to inform digital policy. In your organization, in your country, is there a way you can influence policy that will bridge this digital gap, this digital gender gap? So we have to, before you can make informed decision, data is the new currency. Before you can make informed decision, you have to do research, collect data of those you're trying to help them, those you're trying to help rather. So are you collecting data, or are you just taking decision from the blues without having women that are using in a particular business? What are the digital tools that they need, and how can we help them? By the time you know who your target audience are, your TG in abbreviation, you know how to help them, how to influence policies to help them and include them in all things digital that is being used. I would say that digital teach them how to use this tool, and support them, mentor them, and make them see the benefits of these things. And if we see a massive result, we see massive changes in the use of digital tools. Thank you so much, Kubina, again. Thank you, TECHFARM, for this awesome opportunity. Fine, there are time differences, but I say thank you. That's actually squeeze out time for this. Thank you so much for this. I hope this was useful.
It's been very useful, Bukola. Thank you very much for joining us in the ongoing discussion. It's still our eDialogue platform, and eDialogues is an online discussion platform that TECHFARM Hub introduced since we established the hub.
Get my email from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bukola Ayeni. Bukola is an awesome lady. She's been in the space of helping young people, especially young girls, to dignify. She's known as the Bukola Genital. And so, Bukola, thank you all very much. Thank you very much for your contribution. You are still part of the ongoing discussion. This is the eDialogue. eDialogue is an online discussion that has been introduced by TECHFARM Hub since our activities began sometime last year. And we are looking forward that eDialogue would make a global impact using our digital platform as a way to communicate. And so we are still in the discussion. We have had 2 people to speak. Is Janine Vantro. Janine Vantro, I've already told you, she's a multi entrepreneur. She has made a lot of impact. So Jenny, if you can hear us, kindly unmute yourself and come on camera, and we are all ears to listen. As we're preparing for Jenny to come on board, please note that this is in 3 sessions, so I'll keep you updated. Your questions are welcome. I'll soon be reading your comments at the background as well, so that all of us can feel part of what is going on. So Janine Vantro, the opportunity is yours. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for having me. It's really great to have this opportunity to be on this platform with so many beautiful, powerful, influential sisters and brothers. Before I touch on the topic, I want to start with saying that there's this saying that says that behind every great man, there is an even greater woman. So, and for me, it means behind every great man, there is an even greater Black woman. We all know that life starts with the Black women. Life started with a Black woman. It is the woman that grooms the man, her son, to go out into the world and to do whatever he wants to do, to become whatever he wants to become. And I think that it should be up to the woman to do exactly the same with her daughter. I think that would be a way to close this gender gap, to teach the girl, starting from a very young age, that she has the same opportunity as her brothers or her cousins or her male cousins. It is up to the woman to close the gender gap. As a mother of a daughter, I have a 15-year-old daughter. I make sure I am deliberate in grooming my daughter into technology. She is now only 15 years old, but at age of 12, she built her first robot. She is coding in several languages. And I'm telling you this with a sense of pride because she has a great teacher, and the teacher is a woman from Nigeria. And I'm very deliberate in that because I believe that especially now with all this digitalization that the world has become smaller, it must be possible for all of us to reach out across the borders to make sure that we can all touch and help each other. I am very deliberate in helping my daughter to realize that technology is not a scary thing. And this is something that she, last year, she obtained 2 different certificates in blockchain. And she was interviewed by an American lady. And the first thing she told that lady is that she wants to help girls and women understand that technology is not a scary thing. I think that is something that we as women need to tell our sisters. This is something that we need to help to tell all of our sisters, actually. Mrs. Bakula was asking the men if they are hiring other men when they are at this certain place. I believe we should ask our sisters the same thing. Whenever you are there, sister, do you reach out? Do you look back and reach out to your other sister to pull her up to a level where she can be? Because that is what your sister needs. To give you an example, I am the business development officer for a startup company in the US called HCISS, where we focus on blockchain security analytics. What I have done, even though that I knew that these girls would need more training, but I made sure that the CEO took up 3 girls from Nigeria. And a part of their pay is not money. A part of their pay is education. I did the same with another project where we discussed with the CEO that we would be able to bring in 25 content curators, 13 from my country, Suriname, 13 from, or 12 from Kenya. I think this is the way to close the gender gap, and it reaches further. I have been very specific and deliberate in teaching my daughter, and of course, she has been, it was easy for me because I am in technology, but I think we should also pay it forward and teach our youth also to pay it forward. For instance, my daughter now, I have recently started the Black Women in Tech in Suriname. This was to bring digital education as well as remote jobs to Suriname, which we succeeded to do by partnering up with one of the companies in the US. And we are hoping to bring more. And we are not planning on staying in Suriname only, because we have also brought remote jobs to Kenya. And we are looking to expand to other places where women, and we are very deliberate. It's not that we don't think that men also need these chances, but we are very aware that women are the drivers, the driving force behind families. And it's because of that, because of all these things that women are doing, they need to take care of the family. When someone is sick, they have to be there. And it is, this is why the woman is being left behind, although she is the one that is actually driving the families, that she is the one the driving force behind all these families, all these generations. And I think that this is how we can close the gender gap. My daughter, I forced my daughter to teach her nieces and cousins and friends of my children, to teach them how to code. Because then if you groom little children into coding, for instance, and coding is just one example, but if you groom these children, these girls into that, it will not be a scary thing for them. That would make it easier for companies to take up women, because it has been something that is very easy and very common and very known for them. This is, for me, how we can help to close the gender gap. It's my message. Sister, when you're there, look back, look where you come from, reach out and pull up another sister and help her to come along with you. I have a virtual assistant also in Nigeria. She gets partly paid in money and partly paid in courses. She has now, in a very short period of time, she has already obtained 3 certificates in coding. And she is so happy, because she said that before this, she never thought of going into the digital space. The digital space for a lot of women is just looking at Facebook, posting their pictures, looking at other people's timeline, but they never realize that they can build their own Facebook, and that Facebook can become your employer, or that you can start your own business in another space. These are the things that we need to teach our ladies. These are the things that we need to teach our youth, that Facebook is not there to give them, it's not only there so you can give them your free data so they can earn money with it. Facebook is there so you can look behind Facebook and see what it is that you can bring in and you can do to help yourself and the people around you to move forward in this digital space. I would also want to touch on leadership, especially women leadership. I think it is a shame that we we only acknowledge those that we see. I consider myself a public figure. I do not consider myself a great leader, but I am aware that I am a public figure. But when we talk about leadership and when we talk about women leadership, there are so many women that are not seen that I consider leaders. They are the ones, it's the lady that goes to the market to sell stuff, to be able to provide for her family. To me, that's a leader. She has a vision and she acts towards that vision. It's the little girl that realizes that she has to help out her mom so that her mom can do things that she needs to do. To me, that is a leader. And I think we should not forget about all these great women, these invisible ladies ladies like my second mom, who is right here, Mrs. Carmen Cooks, who is a retired teacher. She on a daily basis, she sends me messages to keep me moving. My own mother, who on a daily basis sends me messages, tells me that she believes in me, tells me that she knows that I can do whatever I want to do. These leaders, although they are not on the list, we should not forget about them. We should not forget about the grandma that is in this rural area doing everything that she can to help her neighbor or her sister or someone else's daughter. These to me are the leaders. They are the ones that gave it forward. My grandmother, that her ancestors came from Africa, were put into Suriname, worked the land, sold her crops so that her children could go to school, so that eventually I now am here to talk to you. These to me are the leaders. So let's please not forget the invisible leaders that have done everything to make leaders just like you and I visible today. That's all I wanted to say for today. Thank you very much.
Wow. Well, I am a man and I am already short of words, because I believe that you've touched on issues from the basics up. And if you go into the chat box, some of the comments that are coming through, I said I was going to read them, but just before I read all those comments that are coming through, it's been inspiring. You hearing you speak, all the women who have spoken so far, from the Secretary General through Ruth Badu, through I believe Bukola, and now Jenin. I believe your input so far has been very inspiring, and it's showing on the dash, this chat box what people are already saying. But we do have one more inspirational lady. She's still also in the digital space, and I'm excited that our focus is in the financial inclusion and digital inclusion space in advancing gender equality for women. I know that her contributions will also be another eye-opener, and I'm talking about no less a person than Mary C. Thomas. I've already read her profile, and you see where she's coming from, but Mary is already on board. And so, Mary, if you could unmute yourself and put yourself on camera, you can speak with all of us, and we are all ears. We are eager to know what you are bringing on board on such an interesting and interactive discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for this. Well, I think you need to help me start my camera, because we stopped it, the host.
Okay, so we'll do on that immediately.
So I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Mary. We are working on getting your camera on. So whilst we're working on the technology bit, let me take a chance to now go back straight to the dashboard, because people are talking on the platform. So whilst we're working on the parts of technology and all that, because all of us know very well that technology is having its own influence. I'm reading from Mary C. Thomas says, it's been so inspiring. Thank you, Jenin and Bukola and everyone. Carmen Cooks, Donan says, and wow. Felix Lumo says, great piece, thank you. I'm reading, thank you, my dear, you are a leader. And that does come from Carmen. I'm reading, wow, what an impact, Jenin. I am inspired. Women are the driving force behind families. Wow, what a great woman. I celebrate you. That's coming from Sylvia. I have Galaxy J7, excellent start. I believe that message, take away, behind every great man, there is a greater Black woman. Mohammed Best, you reiterated what Jenin said, and that's a powerful statement, Jenin. That was a real powerful statement to start your start with. So I believe that if this is to go, I've also realized that I think Kwame, yes, Kwame, let me see. Okay, so Kwame Ba Achimfor has also put Ghana has a digital literacy program for women, especially entrepreneurs, talents such as hairdressers and dressmakers. This program is run across communication information centers across the country. Any ladies interested can enroll through GIFEC. Of course, when it comes to digital empowerment for women, you can also come to TECHFARM Hub. We are located in Koforidua in the eastern region of Ghana, and we are interested in going global and partnering with global platforms to make that happen. So TECHFARM Hub is definitely also a place to go to get that kind of knowledge. If I get back to the issue of technology, have we been able to resolve it now? Wonderful. We have Mary C. Thomas on camera. So Mary, the floor is all yours. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Janice. Thank you, everybody. I've had a very exciting section so far. I want to also thank those that organize it, TECHFARM, Young Creative Forum, for putting this together. And trust me, it's been an amazing time here. So I wouldn't want to do a lot of repetitions. So I'll just highlight on some few things before we can continue. I have been opportunity to work in the technical space, and I worked with a tech hub, and right now I'm managing social media for companies, and I'm also into investment. So far, I want to just put one or two put forward or something like that on some points earlier mentioned, but I'll try not to repeat some points. So basically, our theme for this year's women program, women in leadership, and how to include women in the digital and financial sectors. This is very important for me right now, and I think is what is so timely for every woman out here, all right? And I will just mention a few points. One on my list is we need to advocate for women participation in digital skills. A lot has been done already in digital space, like from Nigeria where I am, right? A lot of outreaches, organizations go out there, and there are a lot of programs from Google, from Facebook, from Young Creative Forum on how to include women in the digital space. Google gives very free trainings on digital skills, even Facebook. And I noticed something in my years of training for Google and Facebook, that even as far as we still try to make some people know what we are doing, so women still don't get the whole point. I think to an extent, the whole gender bias and gender inequality, we have a role to play as women, all right? If we don't get to the point where we tell ourselves that, see, we can do this as much as the men can. I have a lot of female developers in my space, and they still go through the issues of the male developers are seen as knowing how to do these things very well more than the female developers. Someone wants to give a male developer a job to do rather than a female developer because they feel because they are male, they know how to do it well, but they're getting it all wrong. And sometimes the female developers even get caged into this circle. They feel like they're not good enough. They feel because he's a guy, he's a male, he can do this better. And if we are not intentional about changing this narrative, there is no way we are going to get this thing done the way we want to get it done. So I really think that women, we have a big role to play in this whole digital and financial inclusion and trying to change the narrative. That's one. So no matter what we do, I have in IHL where I worked at some point, they're trying to build up a digital solution for market women. You know, when you talk about digital inclusion, don't just look at the millennials and Generation Z, right? You need to really look at the way younger generation and the way older generation. Find a way to include them into this digital circle, right? Our women in the market that do a lot of things, buying and selling, they don't know anything about digital space, even social media. Some can't even use Android phones. So you have to find a way to actually include them with their small Nokia touches to also do something digital, or using the smallest Android phone to still do something digital, from digital payments, all right? My boss was building a payment platform called Core, where you have to scan the barcode and make a payment to a market woman, to make a payment in the market when you buy stuff from any woman in the marketplace. So this was actually a very great solution, but there was a problem. Once to actually push it into the market, And this is where we have a lot of stakeholders that need to really come in. Apart from us trying to bring up solutions, the stakeholders, governments, bigger platforms that actually provide funding. This was an issue pushing into the markets, and I don't think it has been launched, but it's not really everywhere right now. That was a very great digital solution that can include both women that are advanced, that are not millennials, that are very advanced, but they buy and sell in the marketplace. So that is we need to find ways to include the older generation into the digital space, because the world after during COVID-19 and after COVID-19 is 100% digital. Is that a go digital or you just go home? We need to find a way to include the older generation. So that's one. And as Majeni said about going for the younger generation, I so much love what she talked about her little child about surface code already coding in. Now, this is part of what we do in Technovation Girls in this sense. We try to mentor young girls into getting solutions to local problems that are actually global problems, right? And try to solve those problems using a technology, using technology kind of. So that is what we're trying to do with these girls. I've mentored girls for like 3 years now. And when you see these little minds trying to come up with solutions, all right, trying to come up with mind-blowing solutions, create mobile apps to tackle very serious, you just will be very amazed. So in as we try to include the millennials and Generation Z that can handle Android phones, we don't need to ignore the way younger generation that are coming up, because I believe they are to an extent, all right. I'm not, but I know to an extent their minds are very smart and more creative than we even think. All right, kids can be very creative. I remember at some point I was coaching them on one of our sections, and I was very shocked at the kind of ideas that come from the minds of these kids. I was very shocked. I had to just chill at some point and allow them flow and just correct them. So this goes to say that even in our school system, even some of our teachers are not digitally sound or something like that. And if they at that point they don't know stuff about digital space, how can they teach the children, the younger generation that are coming up, that are supposed to be looking up to them? So this is a very big gap, all right? Needs to reach us to the younger generation, the little children, the teenagers, and get them into this space. Let them start thinking for themselves. Let them start thinking technology. It looks like in Africa, we are way a little bit backwards than the European countries. It's actually the truth, right? I will not try to paint us white, but it is the serious truth. These guys are, if you check the girls in the European countries, they are way ahead of us when it comes technologically than our own girls. So this is a point where I think every hand should be on deck to make this happen. As we learn our digital skills and all those things, we need to also include these two people that have, these two group of women that are actually highlighted right now. And one of that I want to mention is to join digital, there is the need to join digital communities, all right? There are communities by Google out there, free to join and learn skills for free. Young Creative Forum, TECHFARM Hub are doing amazing things, building communities from Facebook, all right? I heard, okay, the Black girl when empowered is able to make magic happen. That's exactly the point, all right? You need to encourage us to join these communities and get free skills. It's looking like there's a digital revolution over here in Africa at this point. Like there are a lot of free trainings, people need to just come on board. But it actually pains me a lot that some people still don't get the whole vibe. They are still thinking that we are doing what we used to do. But the world has moved. They moved a long time ago, and just catch up with them. So there is need for us to keep sharing these communities for those around us. Just join women in our circles, join and learn. This is time I said earlier, go digital or just go home, because a lot is happening and we need to just key up on these things and get updated. Finally, all right, I have been doing one of the things with the investment space, and I observed something, right, that although there is more to do, I'm actually happy that a lot of women are having tech startups and investment companies like Harvest, Money Africa, trying to include women in financial awareness and the rest of that. That is very amazing. I also observed when I was going through the companies, just trying to do a little study, it struck me that most of the investors in a company are mostly male. Let's say on a percent of 80-20. So I was doing a brief study and I noticed that they said men are more aggressive investors and women are more conservative investors. That's amazing, all right? But I actually think most women don't invest because they don't only understand the game around investments. It looks like men are more open to learn all this, to take risk in investments, and women are still trying to play very safe. But even in playing very safe, can try to do something better. So looking at all these factors, all right, I actually think a lot needs to be done on our side as women, putting our fellow women through all of this in the investment space. 2 years ago, I didn't know anything about investments. I was trying to save my money. But count down to 2 years after, I feel like I've lost so much time and I'm learning, I'm putting my mind to learn investments and trying to understand how everything works. And a lot of women, including millennials and Generation Z, everybody are in this circle of not knowing anything about investments and the financial knowledge. You don't know anything about it. So in this period, thanks to this theme of this year's Women's Day celebration, there is more work for us to do. Organizations, individuals, we need to go out there and talk about this thing, get people to actually get involved in the digital space, either with learning digital skills, learning how to make investments, use of cryptocurrency, forex trade, just name it. There's a lot that we need to do. And I just thank God for this eDialogue sessions. Get to talk about a lot of things, and I love what everyone is saying here, and I'm learning a lot. And I believe that from today, we will have a lot of take-home points that will really gear us up to action, and we'll put our structures out there and put our programs that will encourage our women, our young women, our girls, and our older women to become digitally and financially inclusive in the digital space. All right. So thank you very much. I'll stop it for now, and thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much, Mary C. Thomas. I told you all the people involved in today's eDialogue are power-packed. Now tell me I said something otherwise. Look into it and you get to realize that every one of them have made critical points that really turns on your mind to start thinking of really making a difference. I'm excited to be part of what is happening today on eDialogues. And today we are in collaboration with Young Creative Forum. Young Creative Forum is a global platform of various agencies and groups and entrepreneurs and startups who are working together for a collective effort of building a community of change makers and impact makers. And that is what Young Creative Forum is doing. It's located in Nigeria, but it has membership across almost about over 10 countries in Africa alone, about a couple of them in Europe, and a number of them already are growing into greater numbers. And so I know that George Goodwill, who is the executive director and founder of Young Creative Forum, is on this platform, and I sure do know other members of Young Creative Forum are also on this platform. And so definitely before we wrap up, George will definitely make a statement or two. Adding value to the truth, we've talked for quite a while. It's almost about an hour since we've been talking. Now, we need to take the conversation to another phase because whatever the case might be, I would be encouraging that you put your questions on the platform. I'll be giving some few minutes for us to have a Q&A so that some of the things that you've heard the panelists bringing up to the discussion, you would also have the opportunity to make your input. So be rest assured that before we say Jack, we'll all have an opportunity to bring our opinions up. If you have a comment, you can leave it in the chat box. I'll read it out for you as well. It's an interactive engagement, so keep that in mind. But today is an International Women's Day, and poetry, I mean, poetry has a very beautiful way of engaging people's minds. Now, I have a very smart, eloquent, and spot-on poet in our midst today. His name is Emi Shaddai. He's also in the digital space. He has been in the ecosystem in Ghana for quite a very long while now. Now, part of his passion is into poetry and spoken word. And he's put together a piece specifically for our consumption today. And so I would like you to just be ready. We're going to watch that piece briefly. It's just a short interlude. When we come back, we'll be doing our Q&A session, and I'll be encouraging all of us to take a closer look at what is going to happen. We'll be doing a Q&A. Your questions will be engaged, and then we'll have our panelists give their closing comments. And then, of course, we'll have George Goodwill from Young Creative Forum come on board. And then we'll be having our vote of thanks and my final remarks as your moderator for today. So thank you very much for sharing your screen. Sylvia, can you go ahead and play the video for all of us to enjoy? It's coming from Emi Shaddai.
Nobody wants to walk around feeling like your own shadow might attack you, or that your only value is how to make another feel better, more wanted or desired, more empowered, like a retired old man's legal stroke for pretentious praise and roots must compliment someone else. So she's a daughter or a daughter, girlfriend or side chick, wife or mother of his kids, for mistress will never find her roots. A woman behind the rejected icon as a success story. That's it. So lucky. After he falls himself out there and tries to tell Rafa, men are bastards. After she was accused of seducing Sarah by shooting swords, men are bastards. After they won a great war, and the money that she sat for them after, men are bastards. After the marriage and the class of roots from the cash power, we and this young couples are arms and combat swords. Never mind.
Great presentation from Emi Shaddai Ofori. I've already said that Emi Shaddai has been in the space for quite a long time. He's really done a lot. We're going to be sharing the link on the platform because we know that definitely there were one or two technical hitches with the sound initially. But he's into poetry, and he's been doing poetry for quite a long time now, aside the fact that he's into digital empowerment for young people and for entrepreneurs and businesses here in Ghana. And he's been supporting the ecosystem activities and around the entrepreneurship and digital space in Ghana. Emi Shaddai is also a poet, and I've had the privilege of listening to him in other areas when it comes to poetry. And so thank you very much, Emi Shaddai Ofori, and your colleague Kelechi, for the contribution you have made to today's discussion. I made a mention that in the final emphasis, I would have to take some of your comments. And I'm going on the chat box. So if you made any comment in there, I'll be now reading your comments, and then we'll go to a Q&A session. Okay, so I'm reading from Lena. Lena says, this is retreat. Just to reiterate what Ms. Ruth said, requirements. Yes, it's taking me to the issue of requirements, which I'm actually going to go there again. Ms. Ruth Bado made mention of requirements that women and women groups have to go through when it comes to getting access to, for example, mobile money and certain digital financial platforms. Now, I'll first read what Lena has said, then I'll ask my question directly to Ms. Ruth and any other panel who will be able to answer. Says, just to reiterate what Ms. Ruth said, it says requirements. Oftentimes, these requirements stop some women to dream. Most of the time, we talk about empowering the youth, that is women, but there is always a cut-off point of 20 to 30 years. And I think this somehow limits people who are low in realizing and daring to dream. I hope we can all choose to challenge the status quo. Now, let me take this moment to do a follow-up question on this. Ms. Ruth Bado, please, you coming from MTN Ghana and being in the space of financial inclusion of women, what are some of the practical challenges that you believe that your platform, giving access to women and women businesses, is doing to ensure that women participation and usage of those opportunities you have created for them is long-lasting and can really genuinely make an impact?
Thank you, Kobna. I must say, when it comes to the issue of requirements, we are all aware that it's mostly regulatory. So what we try to do from our point of view is to make sure that there's a segregation whereby, so we have different categories of business owners who are able to acquire business accounts to use for their businesses. So in effect, there are different categorizations that we have to make sure that everybody is included. So if you are the type of business where you have the type of business who has access to a business registration certificate, you should be able to participate. If you also do not have and you have a permit, let's say the community AMA and all of those permits that people have access to for operating within their localities, we do accept those ones as well. I mean, at the end of the day, we also understand that it's important to have some level of KYC on your customers. So in effect, the business is at the end of the day trying to protect you and still open for other people to, everybody to come in and participate. When it comes to segregation, I think the question that you asked about what we are doing to include a lot more women, one of the key initiatives that we have undertaken in the past, say from 2015, is to partner with a lot of organizations. One of the remarkable ones that we have, which is still ongoing, is our partnership with the GSMA. What we do is that on a 3-year continuous running cycle, we commit to increasing the participation of females in mobile money or financial inclusion for a period of 3 years. And we set specific targets or goals to say, let's say in the next 3 years, we will increase it by 10 percentage points. And in that commitment, we have to now draw or tailor specific programs or initiatives to ensure that we are able to meet that percentage points by the end of the period that we have committed to. So again, it goes back to the point that I made about being deliberate, because if you allow it to run naturally or organically, you will not be able to make much gains. So what we do is that we specifically target certain groups, like, in Ghana, we have a lot of these female associations where you have, petty traders, hairdressers, and so on and so forth. So we try to bring them together. And, within their communities, like I mentioned earlier, normally women will tend to trust a word of mouth or a testimony that's coming from another woman who has experienced the service or has benefited from the particular initiative. So what we do is that we go granular and, you know, go close to the people, speak to them, understand what their challenges are and their needs are. We set them up, we do follow-ups, because another point is that if you just do the initial setup and you don't follow up, people may either forget or it becomes more like a second, you know, a second option for them. But if you sort of do the follow-ups and, you know, get them to understand and be more comfortable with the technology, it makes it easy for them to appreciate. So back to the point, we do a lot of market work as well, making sure that when you go to, let's say, these open markets, we know in Ghana, we typically have a lot of open markets where, I mean, about 80% or so of people you find in these markets are women. So once you get into that space, you know that you'll be able to cover a good chunk of women, and also trying to get closer to them in their natural environments where they do their businesses. And the amount of money that, you know, is churned out in those areas is amazing. But normally you find that most of them are in cash and people have bundled it up in their, you know, cloth that's covered around them and all of that kind of thing. So that's where we focus on to make sure that we get to the grassroots, and at the end of the day, we, you know, change behavior one person at a time, because it's not very easy. I mean, trying to sell technology or new ways of doing things, especially when it has to do with a phone. And, you know, typically some people are also paranoid in terms of what happens when my phone gets stolen, or, I mean, we all know that there's fraud around. So in addition to also enrolling them, we make sure that the education in terms of security is very key, because I mean, it's of no use having a digital service that you do not know how to protect yourself around. And at the end of the day, we have bad people. I mean, people are exploiting these technologies, you know, to make sure that they capitalize on innocent people. So education on fraud is one of the key areas that we also focus on, to make sure that in as much as we are onboarding people, we are also educating them to be aware and ensure that they protect themselves in the digital space. Thank you.
Awesome feedback, Madam Ruth Badu. Thank you very much for your apt feedback. I have another interest as a way of follow up. I want to do another interest. This one is a general question though. One of the focus objectives for this our commemoration of eDialogue is to promote generation equality campaign. It calls for women's right in decision making in all areas of their life and our lives. It calls for equal pay, equal sharing of unpaid and care and domestic work. It calls for an end to all forms of violence against women and girls. It calls for healthcare services that respond to the needs of women and girls in particular. Now, this is a general question to all, because I believe all the panelists have a knowledge about which aspect of decision-making in all spheres of women's life is key. So I'll begin with Janine. Janine, what's your take on empowering women in making decisions in all spheres of life? And with your case in particular, I'll look at the issue of empowering them in the area of healthcare and in the area of violence against women.
I'm going to say something that might sound strange, but I don't think that women need empowerment. As long as we keep talking about things like empowerment, inclusions, that means that we are not included. We choose to be included, and we choose to be included by teaching each other. We choose to be included by paying it forward. It's the same as the things that is going on here in Europe, including Black people into things. It's not about inclusion. If you make the decision for yourself that you want to be included. And if you have people around you that can teach you how to be included, you don't need outside people to tell you that you need to be included, or to wait for people to draw you into that into that inclusion. Being included is something that should come from yourself, and we can do that by educating each other, by taking each other along. Then there will not be a discussion about inclusion, exclusion, or what have you. That is my take on that.
Thank you very much, Janine. I know that you have other engagements as well. Actually, we are all about to wrap up in a couple of minutes. In the next 5 minutes or so, we should all have wrapped up. So I'll be looking forward to getting your closing remarks, just so that in the case where you are unavailable at the time that we'll actually be wrapping up for real, we'll have at least received your closing remarks. So let me just take your final words, and then we can take it going forward.
I'm sorry, do you mean from me?
Yeah, yes, please. Just so if you are going to be around in the next few, that would be all good. But if not, you could give us your final words, then we know that at least we're taking your final words.
Okay, well, to start, I would like to thank you for organizing this and to invite me to be part of this. It's really wonderful to be amongst such wonderful people, and I really look forward to connect with all of you. I do think that getting and keeping in conversation with each other on how we are going to bring our sisters along is very crucial. If we look at the digital space is a very broad thing, and we don't necessarily need to have to know everything. It is where you fit in. And I think that it's important to bring along as much as possible. And we do talk a lot about the youth, because it's easier to teach the youth something than to teach, for instance, my grandma something. But we shouldn't forget those two. I remember the minute my mom started to learn how to use WhatsApp, oh my God, it was, she would start to send messages all day. But in the end of the day, I'm glad she learned, right? And the same goes for, I think it was Mary who touched on investments. I think that is something very, very powerful. If we look at the space that we are in today, many people, especially many Black people, are not aware of the power that the blockchain technology brings with it. A lot of people, when they hear blockchain technology, they hear about, the first thought is Bitcoin, and their first thought is scam. There is a whole world, a whole new realm out there that is called DeFi. And I do believe that especially our youth should get trained into DeFi, decentralized financial, because I believe that this is a service that the bank is eventually going to offer to us against payment. So as long as we teach our youth how to learn to work into DeFi space, how to get along in the blockchain space, the blockchain technology and things like that, that will help us move along and be and have like a what's it called? We would be able to look at Singapore, for instance. Not too long ago, Singapore was amongst one of the most poorest countries, right? They chose to be one of the best with educating their people, with bringing education and being very deliberate about it. Why not us? Why wouldn't we be why wouldn't we be the Singapore? I think that we need to look at blockchain technology, because however and whatever you think about it, you know, it is here to stay and it's not going away. It is not going anywhere. So you might as well embrace it. You might as well use it to your advantage. And you might as well groom your children into it. Thank you.
Awesome. 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 Thank you very much, Jenin Van Tro. She's been awesome. And in fact, your input has really been an eye-opener for us. On behalf of the organizers of this particular eDialogue, we are very grateful for your time, and we're looking forward to work with you in future endeavors. God bless you. We are grateful.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
I know she's still going to be around for just a little while, but that conversation continues. Let's get to the final bit of it all. It's worth to take some closing remarks, but before I take the final closing remarks from all our panel members, let me do a quick run through some of the comments that have come through just to, I keep hearing great initiative, great perspective, Madam Ruth. We choose to be empowered, we choose to be included. Very empowering, Jenin. Stephen Asa Blackberry says, good initiative and wonderful presentations by your resource persons. Ayiko. Chris Obina says, nice one, Jenin. Once again, Sylvia says, we are bridging our folding chairs. We are bringing our folding chairs. We are taking our seats. One but will hand them over to us. Mary C. Thomas says, we choose to be included. I love to hear that again from Mary. I would love to hear you say that in your final comments. Listening to all these women, we can see the similarities we are facing when talking about accessing this digital world. We have to connect to make this barrier to careers. And I believe that you are very right, said right, Galaxy J7. I pray you have a good name for that. But thank you very much for your input. Blockchain technology is beyond Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. That should be very true. And Paul, yes, Paul from DRC, Bulambo, Paul from DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. Thank you. I would be happy to be in contact with you at the next opportunity. Paul, we're taking note of your email address, and eDialogues have come to stay. It started from last year. We're looking forward that this year it's going to even grow even bigger, and we're going to make much more impact. We are looking at empowering more people, more young people, and women and young girls are one of our focus. Mr. Diofori says, relevant resources today, looking forward to following all the initiatives. Is there a place we can follow them? Surely we are going to be creating a platform beyond this engagement. So, Emishadai, thank you all very much. One thing before we wrap up, I will encourage that anyone who is interested in keeping up with TECHFARM Hub and our activities with eDialogues and our activities with digital empowerment of women and girls, please leave your email address and leave your WhatsApp number or a social media contact, and we'll still connect with you. Bukola INA has already shared her LinkedIn account. You can do that and connect with her. So in doing wrap-ups, I would like our other speakers. I will ask Bukola, if you're there, if you can make an input, make your final submissions, and then we take it there. It's almost our time to wrap up. So if you can make your input. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Kovina. You actually quoted it. So thank you, first of all, for this opportunity. I really appreciate this. And thank you, everybody. You guys are the real MVPs. Everybody that stayed all through, you are the real MVPs. We can't be here without you, and I would say thank you for that. And so my final submission is that no matter what we say, anything without action is dead. Knowledge is power. But practical knowledge, the one that is acted on, is more powerful. Don't just listen, don't just take notes. Take action, take action, take action. Reach out to people that can help you, that as a male or female. Don't just leave this thing to the society to solve the problem for us. We too have a role to play. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you very much, Bukola. I want to get Mary on board. Mary, that one word keep resounding in my ear. I would like you to say it anyways. Before we wrap up, Mary, please, your final submission.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Kobina. Thank you, George. Thank you, TECHFARM Hub. Thank you, Youth-Based Faru, for this amazing section. I actually learned a lot, and I'm connecting with amazing minds here already. So, like everyone rightly said, there's a lot more for us to do. We need to really take action. So I want to say something that really got to me. Someone made a statement earlier on today. The person said, there's no force more powerful than a woman who is determined to rise. And I solely believe that, see, women are ready to get this job done. A lot of us are ready. But we need to just put our hands on deck, and let's not just on our own try to settle ourselves. Okay, as I always out, actually sometimes we are not intentional about overcoming the gender bias and gender inequality stuff. It's already in our mind that men can do this more than us. But I think we need to start working on our mind and be more intentional about it. Someone said the world is a patriarchal world, but I think we have a lot to do, right? If we put it out to ourselves to grow ourselves and go out there and get other people involved, we can do this. We can create the change that we want. We can choose to challenge everything that we've put out there already and take up our places. As Jenny rightly said, we are not begging anybody to include us. We need to just go out there and take the bull by the horns and get this thing done. Women are out there doing amazing things. Just go out there and start doing something. We don't wait for the world to come and hand us something, like hand the platter of food to us. Like what Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala did when she was contesting for WTO director. Many people were just how to do the campaign process. She kept on saying, I am the woman for the job. And she went out there and took it up. I watched her interview, and where she was asked if she was qualified to be director of WTO. She just made a statement that she don't really need to be into the trade system to know how WTO works. You just need to be a woman that can involve others, a woman that can take the people by the horns and lead the people to do the job. And that actually got to me a whole lot. So we can go out, let's just go out there and get the job done. Let's not limit ourselves by what everybody sees, status quo and the rest of that. Let's go out there, get the job done, and then we'll see a change already. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mary C. Thomas. Mary, I told you that Mary is into the digital space in Nigeria. IG Hub is a big hub in Nigeria. IG Hub Nigeria has done a lot of empowering activities in the southeastern section of Nigeria. And to have such a remarkable young lady join us on today's discussion on eDialogues has been very, very helpful in getting us to know how the issue that we are talking about is continental, is global, is continental, and it's country to country. But the effort we are making is a collective effort. No one is being left behind. We are calling all hands on deck, all shoulders to the wheel, to ensure that what we seek to get for women becomes a reality. I'm going to ask Madam Ruth Badu. You come from one of the agencies, organizations that in Ghana, when you mention mobile money, everybody knows MTN. I don't know about other countries, but in Ghana, if you mention mobile money, it's MTN. It means that you and your team have done a great job in getting it to sink into the minds of the ordinary Ghanaian that if it's mobile money, it's MTN mobile money. Any final words before we wrap up?
Thank you, Kobna, and thanks to the audience. It's been great having all the panel members and everybody who has sent in their contribution. I mean, to wrap up, what I would like to say is that we definitely appreciate the fact that there's a day in the year that's commemorated to, or celebrate, set aside to celebrate women or recognize the activities that women are undertaking in their various areas of endeavor. But it's important for us to also know that the conversation should not end in the day, because if you are not deliberate and you are not consistent and continuous, you start the conversation and it will end up somewhere. So what I would like to say is that indeed there's a big gap in financial inclusion and literacy, financial literacy for between male and female, but the conversation does not end with just a day or a few initiatives here and there for us to talk about it. We need to be practical, we need to be deliberate, and we need to be consistent so that we achieve our results overall, the desired results that we're looking for. So that's what I would say in conclusion. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome to have you. Awesome to have you, Ruth. We're very grateful to you and your impact that you are still making with your team. TECHFARM Hub and our co-partners and organizers are very grateful to your inputs that you've made in today's discussion. Going forward, I mean, TECHFARM Hub did not do this alone. We did this in collaboration with Young Creative Forum. Young Creative Forum, I've been saying, is a global impact-oriented organization. And we have George Goodwill. George Goodwill is the executive director, and he's in charge of the whole business. He's the executive coordinator that runs the team of organizations who are members of YCF. And so if George is around, I would kindly request that George, you unmute yourself and you make your contributions to the discussion before we wrap it up. Thank you very much, George.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you, Kobina. Thank you. Wow, I don't know what to say right now because I've learned a lot. I wanted to say I wish I'm a woman. I don't know. Like I'm actually speechless. But well, happy International Women's Day to every woman here. TECHFARM, this event today is a great one. Collaborating with you, it's a big one. The speakers are amazing. The audience are amazing. Everyone here have been great. So I'll say a little bit about Young Creative Forum and to what we're bringing on the table in terms of young female empowerment or young women in entrepreneurship. So Young Creative Forum is a non-governmental organization and a multinational organization that is cut across the world. We're a global community of young people with a strong passion in making our youthful age great. So TECHFARM is part of the partners of Young Creative Forum. We have a lot of Young Creative Forum is more like a model of many organizations. We have a lot of organizations under us, and we've been doing great. So we actually in 10 different countries in the world. We are in Africa mostly. We are in Asia. We are in Europe. We are almost all over the world. And we're recruiting new country ambassadors, which Kobina happens to be the YCF and program director, Young Creative Forum program director at the international level. So it's been amazing working with him for 2 years now, and we've done a lot of projects, including putting women in the digital space. So before I don't have much to say because the speakers have said it all, but I just want to point out one or two before we call it a day. I'm not going to waste anybody's time. Well, everyone knows that when you empower a woman, you empower the nation. It's very close to the heart of Young Creative Forum, empowering women. That is why Young Creative Forum talks about women empowerment, because if you empower a woman, you empower a nation. So it's close to us. Women are close to the heart of the organization. Our vision is in here in Young Creative Forum is to create is to have the interest of young people on entrepreneurship, leadership, nation building, and social work, including women. So we've done a lot of training, especially digital skill training, to help young people have a skill to create sustainable income for young people and for women. So what YCF is all about is building young entrepreneurs. So our dream is to see young Africans being listed in Forbes, being listed in global platforms. Want to build a family of women entrepreneurs, want to build a family of young entrepreneurs, want to build a family of African entrepreneurs. I
Awesome.
have met a lot of people.
Awesome.
Met a lot of people in Africa, and they're doing a lot. Okay, my clothes. It's a lady that drew this, and ladies are doing amazing. It's an artwork. She painted this on my clothes. It just and it's actually a trend in YCF front, using paint to paint on a dress. We run the training here in Nigeria, and one of our participants did this for me. So it's something that want to support the women in Africa. Want to support the women in the world at large. So so far.
Thank you very much, George. Sorry for, if you could just do us a favor and wrap up so that we can meet up with the time agreed.
That's what I'm trying to do. So far, I want to just conclude. So for all the African women out there, the only barrier you have is yourself. Believe in yourself, see no barriers, and take the first step. Once you have the will, you can find the way. African women arise. This is actually the time for us to rise. This is your time. Entrepreneurship and leadership is the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. George Goodwill is the executive coordinator for YCF, which is a global entrepreneurship stakeholder platform that a lot of agencies are building their inputs into. You can be sure that YCF, if you want to go forward, is one of the networks that you have to consider engaging yourself in. YCF and TECHFARM Hub did this collaboration on our TECHFARM Hub eDialogue for International Women's Day today. It's been very, very insightful, very knowledgeable. And to wrap up, before I wrap up, I'll call on Sylvia. Sylvia, please come on board and tell us what the wrap-up events are and announcements that are in between. Thank you.
Thank you, Kobna. Please, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Wow, I'm just, a bit flabbergasted about the conversation that has just happened. I think a lot of the things and a lot of the reflections by our speakers is actually music to my ear. So I want to just use this opportunity, first of all, to celebrate them. To them, strong women, may we know them and may we be them. In fact, I think I'm very proud of all our speakers because they are women who are driving change, they are women in leadership, and they are women who are intentional about mentoring and bringing up other girls. So girls who will be, good future women. So this really is empowering to hear. I think the perspectives, not to actually summarize what I've heard, but I think that the perspectives on, for instance, is not enough. Just hearing the word, but actually practical knowledge is more empowering. That was said by Bukola, was really, really it. And I think at TECHFARM Hub, let me thank my co-developer, my husband, Kobna, for the opportunity to co-partner him in this, journey of trying to empower young people, including women and children. What we want to do at TECHFARM Hub is to bring practical knowledge to the doorsteps of young people who otherwise may not have the opportunity. When we set up TECHFARM Hub, then there wasn't any, and I have to repeat, there wasn't any hub where young people could go to in Koforidua in the eastern region of Ghana. And so seeing the need after, running the CSO space for a long time, my husband Kobna has been doing skills training, digital training, and I brought up the idea that why don't you really set this up formally where young people can identify themselves to and then come to get that practical knowledge. And this is what we are doing. We are having a lot of partnerships, and we've already concluded some partnerships with Dex Technology. For instance, we were starting our building your first robots training. So when I heard Janine speak about building first robots, I was like, whoa, fantastic. TECHFARM is doing something right. So not to waste the ears of all, I'm happy that women are empowered. I'm happy that women choose to be empowered. I'm happy that women choose to be included because, as I have said it on different platforms today alone, we are bringing our folding chairs. We are not actually going to wait for seats to be given to us. We have to bring our chairs and then get the seat. How do we do that? By empowering ourselves, bringing up other young women like us, by asking the right questions. Yes, asking the right questions, because when you are at the table and you do the right things and ask the right questions, automatically, whether they like it or not, you'll be included. But I also want to use the time to celebrate men like my husband who are promoting women, who are actually giving women the space to thrive. Men, please don't stifle us. I repeat, men, please, and I'm happy there are a couple of men on this platform today. Don't stifle any woman. Don't stifle your daughter. Give the opportunities that you would give to your son, to your daughter, and let her and see her do amazing things with that opportunity. On this note, I want to thank you all, and I want to encourage us all to stay connected, like our social media handles. Twitter, we're on Facebook at TECHFARM Hub. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram. Please and please again, do like us, promote the work we do, and let it reach every nook and every corner of this country where young people can be reached. Not only in this country, in the world, in fact. I thank you, and I hand over to Kobina. Over.
Well, thank you very much. My co-developer at TECHFARM Hub. Thank you very much, Sylvia Sefako Dumazi Longdon. Thank you for being a good partner in this journey. We are in this together, and we are in this to make an impact to the rest of the world. I want to express a lot of thank yous to a lot of people before our the next 1 minute when we wrap up. So Kobe says, please send me your full names in my private message for compilation of the details you shared earlier. Kobe, I'll pray that you stay connected with us. You can connect with TECHFARM Hub, and then we should be able to give you some updates in that. Kamen says that I am proud of all hardworking women and driving men after the sisters here and all over the world. You are amazing. Your passion shall spread all over the world. I am sure. I'm certain of that too, Kamel. Gamen, I'm very grateful to everyone who has made contributions and being part of this process today. It's been your eDialogue commemoration of International Women's Day 2021. My name is Kobina Dumazi Longdon. I've been your moderator, and I am the Chief Executive and Developer of TECHFARM Hub. And I must say that it would be good to wrap up this discussion by extending my gratitude to Mrs. Amasewa Nikwe-Tete, who is the Secretary General for Ghana National Commission for UNESCO. Also to Madame Ruth Badu. She's the Senior Manager and Operations and Service Delivery at MTN Ghana Mobile Money. I also want to say thank you to Janine Bantro. She's a multi-celebrated entrepreneur. She's in the Netherlands, and I like one thing she said. She said, behind every great man is an even greater black woman. And that was a stress word. Black woman. And so I do remember that statement, and that's one of my own personal takeaways. Mary C. Thomas, awesome business strategic consultant, multi-certified digital empower and executive trainer. You've been awesome. Your contributions have been very, very helpful. And I do believe that it has triggered a new line of thinking and acting within the digital space, not just in Nigeria, but also in Ghana and across the globe for any other person who happened to have joined us. Favor Bukola Ayeni, you've been awesome. I tell you the truth, you've been awesome. Your contributions have been very, very supportive. It's been very enlightening, and we are grateful for your contributions that has brought this discussion to this point. Recognizing also, I'm seeing more coming up. Recognizing also our partners for this event, Young Creative Forum. It's been awesome having you on board. We're looking at the Ghana National Commission for UNESCO. Thank you very much for your support. We're looking at MTN Ghana for bringing Madam Ruth Badu on board, and every other support they've given us. TECHFARM Hub hope to work more with you and spreading your digital agenda, especially around the mobile money market as well. And we're also grateful to All Nations University College based here in Koforidua in the Eastern region of Ghana. Thank you very much to the Academic Affairs Directorate and to Uti and all the team out there at All Nations. We're grateful to your inputs. And we're also grateful to all other partners who have been part of this process. It's been the first of the year. Expect that eDialogues will be coming again in the next fortnight. eDialogues is every fortnight, so we'll bring in our next eDialogues. And if you are interested in keeping up pace with us, follow us on our social media handles or leave your number on this platform on WhatsApp, and we'll be able to do a follow-up with any subsequent eDialogue platform activities. I'm very grateful to all of you. It's been an awesome International Women's Day commemoration, and I wish you all the very best in all your endeavors. May God guide you, may God lead you into every good measure, and may we meet again with smiles, knowing that we made an impact today and many more days coming. God bless you all. My name is Kobina Dumaza, and I'm grateful.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Session.
Thank you, everybody. We are grateful.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Kamen, thank you, Kamen. Thank you, Paul Bulambo. Thank you, Chinago. Thank you, Christiana Beidou, Kobe, Efo Limba, I pray I mentioned that well. Thank you, Felix, and all my team at TECHFARM Hub. Thank you very much. Thank you, all the team at FAPIMPA Foundation and TECHFARM Hub. Kobina Osewusu, Karim Yakubu, Felix Lumo, Vanessa, Mohina Krofi, Benateta Mwate, Lily Ados, Lily Asari. All of you guys have been awesome. Thank you to Nayanka and all the team at TECHFARM Hub. You've been great, and thank you for your support. Thank you, Henry, Benes. Thank you, Karim. Thank you, S. Thank you, Kwame Ba Achimfwa. You've been great. Thank you very much, Kwame, for staying on all through to this point. Thank you, Lena, for your contribution. Thank you, Mitchell. Hindu, I pray I mentioned that name right. Sorry if I didn't. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Ukebu. Thank you, Rosemary, Oluchi. Thank you, everybody. We are grateful, and we are signing out.